Ferrari's recent F1 seasons have been full of ups and downs. To be honest, the exciting moments are far fewer than the negative ones, which is why every victory of the prancing horse is celebrated almost like a miracle by its fans and beyond. When a red car wins, the emotion is special, especially in unique circumstances like Monaco or Monza. Charles Leclerc's 2 victories in 2024 at these circuits, along with Carlos Sainz's heroic success in Melbourne, which came just a few weeks after his appendix surgery, have certainly been a strong sign of a resurgence after a disastrous 2023 for the prancing horse team. They were also the only ones to break Max Verstappen and Red Bull's winning streak with Carlos Sainz's victory last year in Singapore. The legacy left by Mattia Binotto to Frederic Vasseur was truly poor a car, the SF-24, full of problems, unreliable, slow, undrivable. Practically a reject from the company, a water heater on 4 wheels that barely finished a race without a technical problem. The work has been massive, starting with the update in Barcelona and leading to what is now the SF-24, competitive and even capable of winning some races as well as competing with McLaren on equal terms, as seen in Baku. Ferrari has rarely been in a real fight for the F1 world title in the past 2 decades, since the Maranello team was last on top of the world in 2007 for the Drivers' Championship, and 2008 for the Constructors. You can count on one hand the times Ferrari has been a serious contender. Apart from 2010 and 2012, lost for deeply different reasons, we have to jump several years to 2017. After a couple of technical regulation changes, the SF-70H set a standard, competing more or less equally with the dominant Mercedes in the first part of the season, only for everything to fall apart, especially in the Asian rounds of Singapore, Malaysia, and Japan. The following year, in 2018, probably the biggest regret was not seeing the red car fight for the F1 World Championship until the final race, something it fully deserved. However, there were 2 small but significant problems. Vettel mentally lost the championship in that motordrome wall at Hockenheim, and the SF-71H, a worthy successor to the previous year's car, lost its edge from Singapore onward. After that, Ferrari spent more years just getting by, with a secret agreement with the FIA after the 2019 car's engine was found, in some way, not entirely legal, effectively leading to an on-track disqualification considering the embarrassing performance in 2020. Only in 2021 did Ferrari show signs of recovery, but by then, all energies were focused on 2022, the year in which Charles Leclerc was in the title fight at least until the summer. But between some not-so-reasonable decisions by Mattia Binotto and a car that was weak in terms of reliability and updates, everything went up in smoke. In summary, looking at the big picture, it's hard to say that Ferrari has been excellent in the last 16 years, since it's always been the others who have won. Besides the harsh numbers, it's time to look at the future and how the Maranello team is focused on returning back on top, as Ferrari tackles the last 6 races with ideas for the 2025 car. October 1st marked a turning point in Maranello. From that day, Loic Serra settled into the offices of Ferrari's racing department as the technical director of the chassis area. His arrival, long awaited, has been much discussed and written about. The Frenchman, originally from Nancy, is the man chosen by team principal Frederic Vasseur to usher in a new era, the fruits of which are expected next year, and especially the following year when F1 will face a true regulatory revolution. In the meantime, Loic Serra is adapting to a whole new environment. For 2 weeks, he has been learning about the Maranello universe after a long career, first at Michelin, then BMW-Sauber, and finally Mercedes, where he was a key player from 2010 to 2023. His past with the most successful team in recent GP history is a guarantee. This is why his fellow countryman Frederic Vasseur decided to bet on Loic Serra, luring him away from his friend Toto Wolff, with the condition that he could start working at the factory as soon as possible. This move pushed his predecessor, Italian aerodynamicist Enrico Cardile, to move to Aston Martin, drawn by a significant financial offer. It will be a big challenge for Loic Serra, who has never held the role of technical director in Formula One, despite having a broad skill set that spans tires, suspensions, and vehicle dynamics. It is precisely this vast experience that convinced Frederic Vasseur. Ferrari's negotiation with Adrian Newey came later and was driven by the fact that the genius was on the market after his unexpected departure from Red Bull, but the deal fell through. In his first weeks at Maranello, Loic Serra has already started working with those who will be his closest collaborators, particularly Fabio Montecchi, chief engineer of the project, Dario Deutsch, the new head of vehicle concept and technical innovation, and Diego Tondi, head of aerodynamics. The goal is to lay the foundation for the organization that will take full effect next season. Loic Serra will not only focus on the 2026 car, but will also contribute immediately to the development of the 2025 car, which is in the final stages of design. This car is known by the code name 677, or as the car for Lewis Hamilton. Next year will mark the arrival of seven-time Formula One world champion at Ferrari, and Loic Serra will be reunited with the English driver, whom he knows well from the golden seasons of Mercedes' world titles. There is hope that a successful partnership can be rekindled. In the meantime, the French engineer is focused on working with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, particularly with the Monegasque driver, who will remain a reference point alongside Lewis Hamilton. Recently, the Monegasque driver tested the 2025 Pirelli tires during tests at the Mugello circuit, which also involved Red Bull and McLaren. These tests are crucial for gathering useful data for decisions that will be made regarding the 677 car's chassis and suspension. But in parallel, there is the present to think about and the last 6 races of the championship, starting with Sunday's United States GP in Austin. For now, Loic Serra is not expected to be present at the track, as he is focused on his work at Maranello. The same goes for Jerome D'Ambrosio, former Mercedes, who has taken on the role of deputy team principal alongside Frederic Vasseur, a highly strategic position. Ferrari will debut a new floor in the United States, which the engineers have been working on for about 6 weeks since Charles Leclerc's triumph at Monza. They are confident that they have finally resolved the annoying porpoising issue at high speeds and added more performance to the SF-24. Everything tested and produced from now on will also be useful for next season's car. The Maranello team could truly become the decisive factor in the title battle between Max Verstappen's Red Bull and Lando Norris's McLaren. Ferrari's United States Grand Prix performance will therefore be a key indicator on whether it's on the right track technically. The question is whether this recent run of form for Ferrari was purely down to the track characteristics suiting the car, or if the car upgrades played a big part. Answers to that question have been equivocal from the team itself, perhaps because it doesn't know for certain if even simulations at the factory indicate that it should be the case. Ferrari's main weakness this season has been on high downforce tracks, particularly those with longer corners, especially faster ones. However, it has also struggled when there has been a wide range of corner speeds. That makes Austin a good test of its car, as although it's a track with plenty of faster turns, there's also some slower content. The front-end weakness at lower speeds is a generic trait of these ground-effect F1 cars, one that Ferrari hasn't mitigated as well as others, partly because it's not as advanced with flexible wing technology as McLaren and Mercedes are.